It's been a while. It's been a long while. Now, there are a couple things I want to say. One, this is a surprise for you. And two, now, when I use the term daily to describe my content, I actually don't mean an Earth days. Now, I know it's easy to get confused. I might have mentioned this offhand at some point to a Skype conversation to a few people, but I'm actually using Venus days, Venetian days, I believe is a proper term, which are about 243 Earth days long. So my content is actually way ahead of schedule. I should be making one of these about 2/3 into the year. So far, it's a little bit higher than that, a little bit. So just remember that we're actually ahead of schedule, not behind. Now this daily is going to be focusing on surprises. In this case, surprises in League of Legends. Now, when I was going to make this video, I went to the bathroom, brushed my hair up all nice and pretty, and I ran into a problem. That guy. What the hell is up with that guy? What are you doing right here? You. I'll get you. I'll get you. I'll get you. You. What are you doing? And I realized what I could do is spend a lot of time, gel this down, make myself look nice, or I could play with it on camera because this is really fun to do, and just look at the output on OBS. Or I could just leave it as is, because this is a surprise, I have to deal with it, and there will always be lots of little surprises. Now let's hop into this game between Curse Academy and Team Summon. So Team Summon, going to be on the blue side. Now Team Summon is a team that has gone through a lot of changes recently. Curse Academy also, but they have some older blood. Rux has been on the team for quite some time. Jaximus is an older player. One Bad Brad's been playing competitively on and off for quite some time. So they haven't been around for a long time as a team, but they have a lot of experience and a lot of solo queue experience as well. You look over at Team Summon, they're a much newer team, but they still have a lot of tricks up their sleeves. So let's organize people in the right order so we can go ahead and get this underway. Now, when I say surprises in League of Legends, there's a lot of surprises. I think the game's become a lot more niche in terms of its picks. So you have people like One Bad Brad playing Jungle Evelynn, which is a big old surprise in how she plays. At the same time, Ashe is becoming more common, but if you're not used to playing against an Ashe, it's very easy to get your butt kicked, stuff like that. So here, for example, is an attempted surprise by Team Summon. They put a ward right here, just a short little Explorer ward, because a long duration sight ward was placed here. They try to trap out Curse. What they expected was Curse would get into this bush. If they want to go for an invade, Curse could walk right on over here. They'd get caught, and they could win a fight. And then, they do something cool. Haruka right there, I don't know if you saw it, he actually walked by that ward, cast a spell, and then walked in this brush to try and bait them out. It's like, alright, if Haruka's there, then chances are they're starting with the side of the jungle. Now, the truth is, it was an attempted bait, but not necessarily a good plan. Now, the second Azingi walks into this brush, One Bad Brad turns around right away, and we're going to see Curse's counter surprise. Now realize these were two attempted plays from both sides that both would have just caught the other guy off guard. Now, One Bad Brad's, it's a little bit sneakier. They put down a sight ward here, not a vision ward. Well, actually, they didn't put down any ward here, but what's going to happen? One Bad Brad gets steal. And if you look at the wards, there are two wards, I believe, two vision wards for Zyra, and none got placed there. Now, how many times is an Evelynn going to steal your red buff like that? The answer is, I don't know, but it can happen often enough where if you don't plan around it, you're going to get stomped a few times for it. So in this case, One Bad Brad, what did he do? He was a mean old Evelynn player. He stole the red buff, got the smite, and now he's going to have a one buff advantage over Zac. And Zac could go for an invade, but by the time he could finally reach the red buff, because he spent so much time fighting over here, he would be behind. He was essentially in the worst position possible. Like, if someone's, like, people will steal the other person's buff, like, let's say Azingi starts here at blue, Evelynn stole red, he could just cross over right away. Not really an option now, because as Azingi finishes a blue buff, One Bad Brad, where is he? Already at his own red, with smite available relatively soon. Now, when it comes to surprises, there's also unexpected plays. Just anything can be a surprise, essentially. And in a 2v1 lane, for example, there's lots of ways for the one to get kills, but a lot of it is dependent on a mistake from the other player. For example, here, Haruka, He's going forward, trying to get some DPS on the tower, trying to use that 2v1 advantage, and he's going to get hit by that charm. Now that's a really well placed charm from Jaximus because that creep dies. Haruka takes a tower shot for it. Now it's an Ashe. Has a mana biscuit, so she will heal up a bit. Has some lifesteal as well, but she's still relatively low now. I mean, she leveled up, but she could have an extra 200 HP at this point. But what happened? It was a very sneaky play from Jaximus, really kind of utilizing his one set of skills he could have. One bad Brad comes in, the FPS drops like crazy. Arkua tries to get away. The barrier isn't enough. No, not even close. And sorry if there are any FPS drops. Something with low replay is just driving my PC crazy. So if hopefully I can get this to recover at least relatively soon. Oh god, the FPS, no. Low replay, no. All right, that fixed it for some reason. Anyhow, One Bad Bread, what did he do, and how much of that was predictable? Well, he stole the red buff. That could be predicted. If I had an Evelynn on the enemy team and they put down a ward right here, I would expect her to try and do something with a buff. In that case, that would have been a good chance for either a Vision Ward to be placed down here just to be safe, or a Zingy to smite the red buff himself. If you have someone low on HP, what do you expect? A jungle gank. They did plan around it. They put Vision Wards here and here, but you have to realize this is kind of half playing into this. They saw Evelynn come in for a gank from an area that wasn't warded over here. How do you play around that? The answer is, well, you can ward her buffs or her jungle, because when she goes to clear that, she'll have to reveal herself fighting minions, or neutrals, I guess. Or you can just put down a bunch more pink wards at choke points. They unfortunately did neither, and the game just crashed. Now, if a surprise like that happens, you got to be ready to adapt. You got to be ready to go back to your OBS screen that has your webcam and just kind of stall for time. That's important, the ability to react. In general, though, the way the game is moved, there's a lot more niche picks, a lot more surprises, and if you don't expect the surprises, if you don't expect the random things people will do, you're going to get caught, you're going to die. And sometimes you can't expect something till it happens to you. Now, the red buff got stolen. Do you think it's going to happen again at level 1 for Team Summon against a jungle Evelynn? No. No way. No way they're letting that happen again, unless they forget. That is actually something a lot of players do. They forget stuff. Now we're in game. Gotta wait for this to actually tick up a bit. To reorganize the players. This is... Oh, I hate this so much. Actually, shout outs to Curse Academy because their team is always in the proper order. Look at that. Look, I didn't have to move a single person. It's matched up perfectly. Oh, feels good. Anyhow, let's see if we can jump back to about the 5-minute mark. Hopefully we don't have any crashes coming in. I actually thought the game crashed right there, and I was just not feeling it. So Team Summon, there are ways to play around the Evelynn, and looking back at this replay, we can see all the ways. But if they haven't played against a jungle Evelynn in a while, or they're just not used to One Bad Brad's playstyle, there's a lot they have to adapt to, and frankly, it's not really happening. And if you look across the lanes, how are the lanes going? Lissandra, for example, down bot, not doing too hot. Shen up top is actually doing really well, but he's in a 1v1. And Ahri mid lane's also doing really well. Part of that was due to the kill, and the fact that Ahri's Orb of Deception and Sustain makes her really powerful, staying in that lane. Now, I'm going to rewind, God help me. This is a cool play. Lamigend gets taunted underneath the tower. One Bad Bread actually disconnected right here. And I thought this was a cool mind game at first, but it'll make sense in a bit. And this is once again a little bit more on the whole being able to react to odd circumstances. So Lamigend gets hit by the taunt. He's going to take a tower shot. He's going to take some damage here. He gets out with a surge, down to about 2/3 HP, and then he notices something. He doesn't get ganked. One Bad Bread doesn't gank him. Of course, he disconnects and reconnects. And so he assumes he's safe. What does that lead to? Well, right now, Lamigend, as far as I'm concerned, because he still has Flash Up and he still has Surge, would be safe from Rux if Rux doesn't get a taunt down. What's going to happen? That's a Flash taunt. The Flash animation actually allowed the game for a sec, but that's what happened, and that was kind of not being able to adapt to a weird circumstance. And weird, I'm kind of overusing the word, but if there's a situation where you could theoretically die, man, the game crashed one more time. Alright. You know what? I've got one more crash in me. If it crashes again, I'm sorry. This daily just is not going to happen with this replay, apparently. But I'll keep talking about what I mean with this stuff. But this has all been very centered around Evelynn. Evelynn is a surprising character because she has that stealth. She's harder to play around. You can't just slap down the normal sight wards. But if you don't play around her, if you don't expect her surprises, her tricks, her chagrin, she goes chagrining all over you, then man, you're going to feel very chagrined. And you'll also probably give away a lot of kills and lose a lot of map control. So in the case of this game, it was Team Summon not being able to play around the Evelynn. Now, I want to get to at least the 7 or so minute mark before this replay crashes again. But what this game has come down to is there have been plays from Curse Academy, there have been surprising plays from Curse Academy, and they're just not reacting to it over on the side of Team Summon. Now, some of the stuff will catch you off guard. That Evelynn gank, for example, the choices were Kennen could go back if he thought Evelynn was nearby, or he could just go ahead and try and stay in lane and survive. If Shen didn't land that taunt, he would survive, for example, because he could always flash in reaction. However, the one thing that could have locked him down and secured that kill was a Shen flash taunt, and he got hit by the Shen flash taunt. Let's go ahead and jump to the 7 or so minute mark. Around 6:46. Godspeed. Godspeed. Alright. Alright, the replay is still working. Cool. We're going to follow One Bad Bread a bit more. This game has been very One Bad Bread focused, and well, Evelynn is the trickster. Now, if something works once, will it work a second time? That's an iffy thing to say. You're never quite sure. So, generally, if you get that risky play that works once, you may not want to try it a second time because the opponent can react. But, you know, at the same time, if they miss that first reaction, you got to say, well, do I think they're smart enough to fix what happened and what went wrong? For example, Azingi here, he buys a green ward. Like, he knows One Bad Brad is there. He's trying to predict it, but that's not going to do anything versus Evelynn. It doesn't do a damn thing, Zingy. It doesn't do anything. And what's going to happen here? Zingy's killing red buff. He does have smite available, and it's gone. There goes red buff. That's the game. Come on, game. Come on. You can stop lagging, game. You can stop lagging, game. Okay, you can crash, game. So, unfortunately, LoL replay is not working too well. That's actually a huge reason I can't make videos very often, because the game crashed 3 times in about 10 minutes. We're at the 13-minute mark, and we're at 3 crashes so far, and it's very long to open those games up again. So let me just keep talking for like 5 minutes. We can do this. We can do this. This is now a short, apparently. When it comes to surprises in League of Legends, there's stuff you can predict. You have to think out some stuff. Using Evelynn as an example, will Evelynn invade at level 1? Well, she's pretty good at sustained fights in a 1v1, but most junglers can really kill her. She's too squishy. However, Evelynn doesn't need to fight you like that. She can just take the red buff or wait for you to get low, and then try and steal a buff right there. So, the answer is, Evelynn can do something, maybe. What does that mean? Plan ahead. And that is kind of League of Legends right now. You can plan ahead. If they put down a Vision Ward in that brush, they could have protected Azingi in the jungle at level 1. If Azingi actually had stood in the brush while clearing red buff, then he probably still would have had the buff stolen, but Evelynn would have had to enter the bush, like possibly if the smite wasn't in range. There's stuff like that. They knew the ward was there. They could have put down their own pink. Like, he could have kited red buff away from the ward and tried to fight it out of line of sight. There were a lot of options available, and nothing got done. And that's just kind of the game in general, to bring other matchups up. I'm trying to think of something. Annie, for example. Annie is someone who, at any point in a fight, she can flash R, WQ, ignite, and you're probably dead if you're someone who's a relatively squishy AP. Now, how do you play around that? If you're feeling awesome, you're just like, alright, I'll flash dodge it. Like, I got you, Annie. I'm gonna flash your shit. I don't care about anything you do, because you're dumb. Like, that might work if they're a bad player and not very good, but at the same time, a lot of Annies can lead out with Incinerate, and Incinerate doesn't have a cast time and is instant, So you're going to get hit right away. So the reality is, a lot of surprises you're probably going to get caught by. It can be the guy hiding in the bush. It can be the Evelynn stealing your red buff. It can be the fact that, no, wait, you actually can't 1v1 Olaf right now, even though you think you can. And the way to learn from those surprises, or just even the unknown, is if you predict it and catch it, and it works, think about, alright, why did I catch it? Why did I know this was going to happen? Can I know this in the future, or do I have to kind of play an odds game? Do I have to say, Evelynn could invade, let's put a pink down here just in case? And if you get destroyed by something, you have to think about, well, why did that happen? In that case, Azingi, he was trying to stop the Evelynn, and what happened? Evelynn just ignored his green ward because the green ward doesn't do anything to him. It's like, all right, man, you need a pink ward for the Eve, and Azingi's gonna know that now. There is no way Team Summon will get so destroyed by Jungle Evelynn stealing their buffs. Now, to bring up a real life example, yo, Lizzie, Lizzie. They're doing construction on the street nearby. You dog, I'll get you up here. They're doing construction on the street nearby, and there's been a problem with that. There's been rats. Well, mice. Mice coming from the area they tore up. Now, normally this would be a big problem, and it is actually, but we have a small little dog, little rescue guy, named Lizzie. Now, this cute little puppy is horrible at being brave at anything. Like, I've seen her run from myself, I've seen her run from doors, I've seen her run from other dogs, I've seen her whine when another dog sees her, not necessarily barks, but the other dog just sees her and she's just like, you know, a sad puppy. But mice are tiny, and so this tiny little dog, this tiny sleepy little dog can go ahead and just beat up on those mice. And now we've trained this dog to catch mice. This dog is a cat as far as I'm concerned. She also sleeps as often as a cat and is as fun to pet as a cat. So, life will give you very random things to deal with. In some cases it'll be mice, crashes from your little replay, or a dude doing something you've never seen before. And the way you deal with those surprises, the way you deal with the unknown, is you learn about it, and you find a way to fight it. Be it dog, be it improvisation, or be it learning what the hell's going on in League of Legends. That's it for now. Hopefully I can make some relatively content, relatively stable, make a relatively stable schedule. That's what I'm going for. That's the phrase I'm thinking of. But I thought this would go a lot better with a little replay, so we'll see how that goes in the future. One day, Riot, one day you'll release replay files. Alright, Lizzie. Look at the camera, Lizzie. Look at that camera. Do you see that camera? Do you see that camera? Alright, good enough. Adios for now, folks.